This is Dr. Carl Farinelli, and we're going to be talking about the midterm projects for Fundamentals of Public School Administration and Supervision. So this is an optional class, optional life class, but what we're going to use this class for is to answer any questions that you might have and to go over the projects that are due for your midterms. What used to be called midterm 1, 2, and 3, we now simply refer to as project 1, 2, and 3. And in Fundamentals of Public School Administration and Supervision, it's set up to where you can choose to do your case analysis and so you're actually going to do 3 of these. So we'll change this to plural, 3 case analyses. And I give you a number of topics that you can choose from. And so you're going to do one of these. The first case analysis is due on session 3. So case analysis number 1 is due on session 3. Case analysis number 2, project number 2, is due on session 5. And case analysis number 3, project number 3, is due on session 7. And you really, it's left up to you what topics you want to use. So I would say use topics that are most relevant to your work, either what you're doing in your schools right now, or those skills that you think that you might need to get the job that you would like to get in the near future. So some of the ones that I suggested would be that you could choose from student problems, so you could really choose any kind of student problem. It could be a discipline problem, it could be an academic problem. Now, of course, if you're already doing an IEP in one of my other classes, don't use that IEP for this class as well. Do a different case analysis so that you will broaden your experience and that you will have those additional things in your bag of tricks when you apply for a leadership position. The other things that I list are curriculum problems, facilities, parent problems, it could be teacher problems. And so it could be writing a grant, it could be a grant idea. So the thing that I say is that if you are going to be an educational leader, you're going to deal with all of these kinds of things. You might even want to think ahead and think, okay, if I'm getting pretty close to my internships, I might decide who I want to use as my cooperating administrator and talk to my administrator that I would like to have act as my cooperating administrator and say, how will these kinds of problems work into a curriculum development project for my internship? And you can start working on those now. So, you know, if you're going to improve, say, a math curriculum, you might have to come up with ways to train teachers or work with some of the teachers that are not doing so well, who are math teachers. How to get parents more involved. What facilities would need to be changed, or what kinds of software you might need to buy, computers you might need. The overall curriculum of your math curriculum and how to deal with certain student problems, weak students, students who have extra problems in math. Maybe students who are really bright in math but are bored because the program isn't challenging enough. So I'm trying to give you some examples of how you could use these case histories to start building a platform for things that, bigger projects that you might do later on, say either in your research class or for your internship 1 and 2. The other thing that I would really do if I were going to try to work as smart as possible in this class, in this class or in all my classes, is I would think about using some of my 10-point postings to build a background for each one of these. So, like say session 5, what is your next session coming up? You're working on session 5 now?
Session 5.
Okay, so session 5 is the one you're working on now. So hopefully, back last week, you did some of your 3-point postings that will actually build up to session 5. So maybe on session 4, you did 3 10-point postings that relate to project number 2. So now which class are you taking this semester?
The public school administration. So
Fundamentals of Public School Administration, which is the one we're talking about right now. So have you decided, are you going to do a student problem, a curriculum problem, a facilities problem?
I'm working on a curriculum problem.
So you might, hopefully, your 3 10-point postings gave you some outside resources that you can actually use this week in your paper about the curriculum problem. So did you do that? Were you able to think about that? If not, think about it down here when you get to session 6 and 7. Use your 10-point postings to do some of that outside research and find some of those ideas that you will incorporate. So when you get to session 6, and you do those 3 10-point postings, try to make at least one of those, maybe 2 or 3 of them, ones that will actually support the project that you're going to do, the case analysis that you're going to do for project number 3. So those are just some ideas of how to make these things add up. How are we doing on time on that one? Okay. So, any questions about these projects? This is our 3rd time to meet, and we posted some of the videos from the other live meetings, so I'm going to try to get us up through midterm at this point. Does this make sense that you try to use these 10-point postings if you can, try to use 3 10-point postings here that will actually help you with the case history, with that case analysis that you're going to do the following week. You know, think of 3 supports that you might have to have, or 3 different ideas that you'll develop in the body of that case analysis. Maybe you know, when you're looking at, if you're using Popeye, now if you're using a certain format in your school for a student problem or for a curriculum problem, or use your school's format. But if you don't have a format, then go to the iDrive and look up the Popeye paper in the Farinelli folder and follow the steps of Popeye. You know, do an introduction plus the steps of Popeye plus a conclusion. So that'll give you at least a 7-paragraph paper. And make sure you have a cover sheet on it and that you have your references. Easy way to already have your references would be by taking references from those 3 10-point postings if they relate to that project. So you use one session to do 3 10-point postings that will support the case analysis you're going to do the following session. So you could actually build these very systematically. Does that make sense? Okay,
It does.
well let's end that one.